Let me get my darn glasses. All right. Okay, good afternoon, everyone. I now call to order the Palm Desert City Council study session for Thursday, February 26, 2026. Any housekeeping notes, Mr. City Clerk?
No notes.
Okay, so the next item on the agenda is item 2A, review and discussion of the proposed 2026 City Council goals. And I guess we're looking for a staff presentation, which I believe is going to be Mr. Mejia.
I'll kick it off.
Oh, big
Mayor and City Council, staff has prepared some materials here highlighting the work that's been done over the last year in advancing City Council goals. We conduct the goal-setting session at this time of the year as it is the precursor to the annual budget process. So your feedback today will help us align and incorporate the upcoming budget process. I'll turn it over to the director team who will go through each of the goals and status and then open it up to council for questions and deliberation. And Martine has the first one.
All right. Good afternoon, Mayor and members of the City Council. We wanted to give you a recap of what we've accomplished and worked through last year, working with our AI initiative and supporting our Entrepreneurial Resource Center. So you'll see some slides here just depicting what we've been working through, just providing support, providing information, providing basically an item that will help us develop and educate our workforce in the long term. With the help of the ERC, they've been able to deliver a mini MBA startup training program. You'll see that on that slide number 1. We've been working with other partners in the community, including UCR, some of our other stakeholders to advance that information, get the word out that resource is available to the community. We've also been working through and helping our CSU Palm Desert campus get through a hopefully successful completion of the Student Success Center project, and then also aligning ourselves with them to ensure that we provide the same resources moving forward to advance those same programs. So with that, happy to answer any questions you may have.
No questions? Okay.
So the next item is the North Sphere. In the last year, we focused on the continuous growth in that area. One, we've secured a funding as well as an IID agreement for the Cook Street Energy Substation so that development continues in those parcels that were affected. We've also had coordination with CVWD to discuss developer capacity, mainly affecting areas of Monterey Crossing as well as other developments in the North Sphere. We've evaluated public and private funding financing options. We continue to see residential and commercial growth in the North Sphere, just recently approving over 700 single-family lots, as well as continued issuances of permits and as well as inspections. In this last year, we also focused on policy. The circulation element was adopted, including the Portola interchange. We focused on the University Neighborhood Specific Plan. That is the area where the city controls 170 acres. We evaluated park options as well as the indoor sports complex. That is a draft that will be presented to City Council and with adoption later this year. We've also have seek that direction of that indoor sports complex, so we'll have further information on that specific use as well in the UNSP. And that concludes it, if you have any questions for me.
Okay. Any questions? Jan?
I just have a quick little comment. And when we talk about this, and we have done monumental progress we've made in that area. And we've really done some things that have never been done there. This is exciting progress and a lot of innovative approaches to solving the infrastructure issues. Here's my little teeny things, and perhaps greater minds can come up with an answer to this. North Sphere, can we come up with another name for it? It just sounds so Star Trek-y. And I'm wondering if we can come up with something that says something great about that area. And it's just something on the back burner. I know there are bigger things to do, but the more we call it North Sphere, it becomes the North Sphere rather than something about Palm Desert. So if we can think about that, it would be great.
Could it be perhaps University Park,
I don't mind that.
expanding it? Just a-
And actually, piggybacking on Jan's question or observation, what are the actual physical boundaries of the North Sphere?
So we use Frank Sinatra, and Frank Sinatra is north and south of Frank Sinatra to consider the North Sphere. But the North Sphere is really the areas that have been, are large parcels, which is why we've just called it North Sphere. And so it's just kind of stuck, but definitely we can work with economic development, with marketing, to see if we can come up with something else.
Most of us have been calling it North Palm Desert as opposed
Sure.
to South Palm Desert. I think that's kind of an easier one, and my apologies, Mayor. I just had some substantial dental work done, so apologize for being late.
Excellent, I think we're next.
Okay, moving on to the mall redevelopment project that we've been working on throughout the years. Over the last year, we've been able to advance additional communications with the property owner and really encourage them to build a specific plan for the future. And we are having discussions to see if we can enhance or at least accelerate 10 acres of housing that it's in the back area over by the fire station. So that's something that we're working on collaboratively with them. And we're just looking at other opportunities to see if we can find partnerships to move this forward. On the Sears building, which the city owns, over the last year, we completed the appraisal, we completed a survey, we completed an environmental analysis that will set us up for the eventual, basically, sale of that property to secure a new anchor for that site. We recently submitted basically a notice of determination that we have completed all the Surplus Land Act process, and we're waiting to hear back from the state to ensure that we've completed that, and we can then go after a new anchor for that site. We're getting ready to move forward with ICSC, which is our conference that's coming up in May, where we're going to be continuing to work with developers, new vendors, and trying to enhance opportunities to bring that property back up to what it was before. And so we do have a lot of options that we're exploring, including retail, fitness, furniture, and theaters to bring more of entertainment and more things to do at that location. So I'm happy to answer any questions in terms of the status at this point.
Sure, Councilmember Harnick.
I have comments. We're moving forward, and it's exciting to see, and talking about the housing and all the opportunities that are available at that site. I think it's important to remember and to put at the forefront of our thinking and what we're going to do as we develop is that is a really important revenue generator for the city. You know, we don't have property tax. We do sales tax and TOT, and we really have to look at making sure that our streets are being paved, we're paying for our public safety, and we do the very best at that we can. So as we look at how we're going to go forward, let's make sure we look through that revenue generation lens as we plan and plot for the future of that site.
Very good. Any other questions? Okay.
Continuing on development growth, we have been looking at our municipal code, and our municipal code has really been a document that's, I guess, at the inception of our city started and has been modified in sort of piecemeals. So our goal is to modernize our municipal code to make sure that we remove a lot of the barriers that we see in terms of development. So that's our goal for the Unified Development Code. We've brought forward some sections of the draft portion of it, but we're really ready to move forward on bringing the last and final draft and hopefully adoption by the end of the year. We've also had some accomplishments. We have adopted a 2025 building standard code. We've also adopted fire hazard severity maps that are on our website, as well as brought in-house fire marshals to help us early on in the development process, as well as in-house inspections for fire. And that concludes this portion of it, if you have any questions.
Okay, anyone? Okay, thank you very much.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council, Richard Canoni. To touch base on the crime prevention technology goal, we've really been working primarily in expanding our camera system. As you're aware, Council approved the expansion of 44 cameras, bringing that total up to 157 within the city. And so we're at about 92% complete with the installation of those. The remaining cameras, actually, I was just informed today, have been approved through the permitting process. And so these will be the live feed cameras on El Paseo. So most of those are hardwired in. So there was a permit that we had to get for the electric. In addition, we worked with Public Works through median access, the utility locations, making sure that once the street, which was recently redone, that we have the camera angles to make sure there's no obstructions. And so we are just about ready to go, and we'll start that installation here very, very soon. Other areas that we've strengthened was that the coordination deployment plan with the Sheriff's Office and flock safety, and then really integrating that ALPR data for the real-time monitoring and investigations to help clear cases much faster. And you saw that where they've reported previously on the number of I'll call those serial burglars or shoplifters that we were able to catch because of our camera system. Some of the other programs that we're continuing to work on and explore is the drone for first-time responder. We believe that having that drone being able to respond in just a few minutes will provide a great asset, not just to the city, but also to the officers that are responding and understanding that being able to be aware of that situation immediately upon arriving. In addition, we're still continuing the talks with creation of the Real-Time Crime Center with our Cove community partners. That will, again, I think help assist with solving crimes much greater, especially that we have the additional cameras deployed. And then even today, we also met with economic development in looking at the security camera grant program that we have. And so making sure that if cameras are installed, particularly more so on the exterior of those businesses up and down El Paseo or anywhere else, that they'll have that connection in with our system so that that can be tracked also in real time if a crime were to be committed. And then to tie in with the Unified Development Code, we're also looking at creating some CPTED standards or community policing through environmental design that can be incorporated in as well. So it's built into the framework of our development right from the beginning. And with that, I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Anyone? Okay, thank you.
Good afternoon, Mayor, City Council, Randy Chavez. And I'm happy to report progress that has been made for the assessment of the medians and right-of-way. So we have awarded a professional services agreement to Herman Design Group, a local landscape architect. They've created three-tier design concepts for different areas of the city from low to high visibility areas. We have presented these concepts to the City Council at a previous study session, the Architectural Review Committee, the Active Transportation Program Subcommittee, and received their comments. So the next steps is to bring the revisions back to the March 12th study session for final presentation and for additional comments if needed. And then we will also be presenting a funding strategy for building the medians and the timelines for the work. Meanwhile, we're also working on designing 3 pilot medians to reflect the 3 tiers that have been proposed. And we intend to bring the final approval of the master plan fall of 2026. With that, I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, anyone? All good? Okay, thank you.
All right. Mr. Mayor and City Council, this is a summary of the proposed goals that were submitted. At this time is the opportunity for you to discuss your proposed goals with your colleagues. And to begin, Councilmember Harnick.
Okay, let me pull those up. So the first one I talked about was, we have for a while looked at having pre-K through 5th, an elementary school over in that area, the University Park area of Palm Desert. We have no educational opportunities out there for them. And we've met with, we would like to see Desert Sands do it, since we are Desert Sands everywhere else, but the fact is, it's Palm Springs Unified School District. So I'm wondering, rather than take an approach where we want to demand anything, how do we work together to achieve a best result? And a charter school on the CSUSB Palm Desert campus, perhaps a pre-K through 8, perhaps more, whatever, again, those greater minds know, would be a solution for all those thousands of people who are joining us in the Palm Desert community. They need a school to go to. And a charter school has more leniency in the way it is built, its guidelines, its educational opportunities, and it gives us a chance to work together, not only with Palm Springs Unified, Desert Sands Unified, but the Cal State. And the Cal State does offer a doctorate in education. So I can see ample opportunity for those students in that pathway, in that educational pathway, to work at the charter school, and it's a symbiotic relationship where everybody benefits. Those students in the K through 8 or pre-K through 8, and then the students at the CSUSB would have that opportunity as well. It's a great location for that area of our city, and I think there's opportunity there. We all benefit when we have superior education, innovative education, and relevant education. So that was my first thought. How do we want to do this? You want me just to go through them? Okay. My other thought on that school is, I think to really benefit our community and benefit everyone, it would be wonderful if it was a complete immersion school, bilingual. And I think that that location offers great opportunity for that. And again, it's one of those opportunities for every student to benefit. When they come out of that school bilingual and have had those opportunities, we benefit, they benefit. It's really a great opportunity. Okay, so the citywide lighting ordinances. I don't know the last time we updated them. I know at one time we tried, and there was, I was one of the people who said, wait a second, let me go look at some of the examples that had been provided. And so I asked to have it continued. I did go out and look at those examples, and it is time to update our lighting. Plus, lighting's changed since we first did it. Did we even have LEDs when we did it last time? I kind of doubt it. And we have all sorts of lighting opportunities with directional shields so that we're not upsetting the dark sky ordinances that exist, and we show respect for our natural environment. But we have to think of safety as well. And we also have to think of the aesthetics. What's going to attract other businesses? It's not going to be something with flashing neon or something that doesn't really portray the character of Palm Desert in a great way. So I'd like us to take a look at those again and go throughout it's got to be done for residential as well as our commercial and our retail. I think we really need to look at this. We need to do a job that's going to lift up the character of Palm Desert and say who we are. And right now there's some, if all you need to do is take a little drive out in Palm Desert and you'll see what I mean. So I'd like us to update our citywide lighting ordinance. And I may have said something good when I wrote it, I don't remember. Business attraction in the North Palm Desert area, university area. I know we're working on this, and I know this is ongoing, but I really want us to focus on it. We have thousands of people going there. We need more opportunities for them and for anyone. Creating walkable neighborhoods, the 15-minute neighborhood is important, and there are plenty of residences out there that do not have that opportunity because we haven't been able to attract the businesses. And again, I know that we are working on that now. I want to make sure that we continue focusing on that. In order to be a complete community, we need those businesses out there. And then the next one, leverage the upcoming global events. We have a lot coming in LA 28, we have FIFA, we have the Paralympics, we have Super Bowl. We have all those things coming in. I know the Southern California Association of Governments is developing a toolkit for Southern California cities to be able to put together viewing parties, neighborhood type of, perhaps we use the mall because it's going to be for the LA 28, it's in July. So we probably will want it inside. The mall may offer us an opportunity if we look at this. I'm sure there are other opportunities. PDAC is another opportunity. But let's look at this. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and I know there are other entities that will provide us with toolkits to make it important, to make it special, and to make it happen. And those are my 4.
Councilmember Nastandi.
Yes, thank you. These are my goals that I also had for last year, and I see my other fellow colleagues have both chosen North Sphere planning and mall redevelopment. I'll start with the North Sphere, or to be determined University Park area. And yes, this area is growing. We have all the housing development units going up, and I think we're making great strides in the infrastructure. We have the fire station going in. We're looking at perhaps a regional park. So it's basically just, in my opinion, keep up the good work that staff is already doing. Mall redevelopment is essential. As we all know, our budget depends upon sales tax revenue, and the mall is the place that is vital that we make sure we have smart development there. And it's a continuation of our goals. And so I think it basically speaks for itself.
Thank you. Councilmember Quintanilla.
Thank you very much. My goals, let me flip this over here. Extreme heat mitigation. This has been one of the top priorities that has been identified for funding through the League of Cities Environmental Quality Policy, and all of the policy committees have highlighted their needs, and this one is something that has been highlighted in the reviewed budget from the governor. So some of that funding that previously was just considered for emergency services and looking at fires and flooding, now they identify that extreme heat is just as dangerous for people. There are opportunities to do that are kind of low-hanging fruit, as we have looked at. And then there are new products and new technology, such as cooling materials and reflective paint. And I know that some of this has already come up before, and that we are looking at a pilot program and how that can be implemented. The second is public engagement and communications. A lot of the presentations that we have, they are great fonts, but there isn't a great contrast that would make it easy to read. A lot of things, I joke that they need to be PowerPoints, not power paragraphs, and we end up losing folks. But overall, when people look for information, it needs to be something that we can get to easily. As we mentioned, the 3-click rule. When you go on our website, you should be able to find what you need quickly, and that also goes to ADA compliance. Another component of making things accessible is when we tell residents to go to Engage Palm Desert or some of the surveys, they want people to create an account, and sometimes that turns people off to say, I don't want to register for something else. And then, what was my password? Let me reset my password, when it should be something quick and easy to do, because that's how we engage. The Bright Side needs an overhaul. It needs a makeover. I know some residents like it, but a lot of folks do not. And I think that this is a good opportunity as we look at renovating systems and code and lighting, that we look at how and who we are reaching best, that things would be opportunities for things to be most cost effective. And once the new library is in place, to the opportunity to start having events there that let people know we are, excuse me, I'm in a lot of pain here, that would let people continue to know that just because it's not the same library doesn't mean that we can't accommodate large events. So that's my thought on my second one for public engagement. And the third relates to conversations that I've had with our Mayor Pro Tem. As so many businesses are online, how do we stimulate these small businesses that are primarily using sales through Instagram, TikTok, Etsy? How do we help them elevate that? What tools do we have available? Since we had designed San Pablo to be the downtown area, we've talked about what a great opportunity it is to have events. We've had the farmers market there. We've had our block party here. This part of San Pablo. And if we have those and also target some of those businesses, let them interact with the city, to have them know we are here to help you with the process, the permits, et cetera. And with a new variety of things where they're small pop-ups, we can bring people across the valley. And as one of the things that was mentioned, right, to shift to identify our character would be, this is a hub where we support small business and we want people to grow. In that same element, seeking different cultural experiences by attracting a variety of food vendors. We see a lot of the same things, and I'd had conversations with our city manager about the way that going to new places creates those experiences and would place us as a multicultural center, the way that we already have that attraction through the Food and Wine Festival. This would just make it more accessible for people, especially when they're visitors and they don't want to buy those expensive tickets, to know there are other opportunities here.
Mayor Pro Tem Perdetto.
The first two we've already covered. And then the third one is what I labeled the Zero Blight Challenge, which is essentially doing what we're already doing with a more rapid fashion and aiming to address abandoned carts, trash, graffiti within 24 hours or even faster. It's within our control, it's simple, it's achievable, and it brings pride to the residents of our community when they see that they respond, they report something and respond right away.
And Mayor Trubie.
All right, thank you. Well, I think I put 5 on here, however, I can strike 2. but I still want a chance to at least talk about them. The Historical Society, so we submitted these back in, I believe, January, these goals. And at the time, as I'm the liaison to the Historical Society, there appeared there was going to be a void in leadership where nobody was stepping up to take the president and vice president's role. And at that point, it seemed like we were faced with two choices: either let Historical Society go away or take it under the city, under city control. Well, since then, thankfully, Bev has stepped up to be pres, so I think we're okay there, so we can strike that one. And thank you very much for stepping up to the leadership role there. And then the second one is the indoor sports facility. Again, that was something that has been on my radar for some time, but of course, in the interim between submitting goals and now, we've had a study session, and it sounds like we're sort of making movement in that direction. So I think we're good on those two. So I will start with the CVDPN. And my thought process behind, I know we already provide, I think, we host 2 sort of educational symposiums a year for them here at City Hall. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. So my thinking is, just as a general rule, I would prefer to see more residents sort of trained up and independent. So if a disaster does happen, this can be applied really to a lot of different things, but particularly with emergencies and disasters. The more residents that are self-sufficient and can handle their own needs during an emergency, the better off the city is, the less, obviously, burden there will be on our own publicly provided services. So my thinking is, and working with Daniel Hurtado and maybe providing more annual, rather than just 2, maybe 3 or 4 educational programs here for residents who are interested in becoming self-sufficient, as well as maybe outreach to HOAs, where they become their own self-sufficient unit within their communities, and instead of requiring services, are actually providing services for their own residents. And then again, that takes the burden off of public safety from the city and sheriff's department. And then I'm also wondering if CVDPN has the wherewithal or the sort of personnel to almost provide almost like a cops type service during an emergency, where there are volunteers who could kind of enhance what our public safety response would be. If they, it could be in the form of communications, or, just out there in the field, they know if an emergency strikes, they're there to do maybe traffic control or some other forms of service. So that's my thinking, maybe worth looking into. The gateway signed to El Paseo, I think this has been discussed in years past, but to my way of thinking, it would have a huge return on investment in terms of social media. We guess El Paseo is already sort of considered our landmark destination here in the city. It's world famous thanks to just how beautiful it is, the businesses that are there. But if you have an archway and give it a sense of place, a welcome archway, I just think that the social media attention and the overall feeling of entering someplace really wonderful, world-class, and special, it just augments that. So hopefully, we could find funding for that in some way, shape, or form, and in whatever that looks like, we would have to decide if the return on investment would be worth it. And going on to, the farmer's market, yeah. This is something we lost, I think, 2 years ago. I think on a lot of different levels, this is beneficial to our residents, brings in people from out of town, tourists love it, gives them a local experience. And just healthy eating is sort of encouraged in our general plan anyway. A lot of other cities do it. I feel like we're missing out on an opportunity there by not having one. I think there already are some locations that we've discussed where it could work. So I think there's already been a little bit of discussion or headway on this, but I would like to see this in place in the next year or two for us to host a farmer's market here in the city. And the San Pablo area, I think, would be a dynamite place for it. And the indoor sports facility we got. And so am I covered here? We're all good, right?
Yep.
Okay.
So, Mr. Mayor and City Council, again, this is a summary of all the goals that were submitted, obviously with Mayor Truppi's edits. And staff has attempted to combine these goals into kind of overarching themes. The first being the North Sphere and University area development that would address the infrastructure readiness, the regional park and amenities, the charter school, continue to evaluate the indoor facility, sports facility, and then a business attraction strategy for the area. 2 would be the mall redevelopment and family-friendly activation, continuation from last year. 3 would be the economic activation and events that would address the entrepreneurship activations, farmers market, and then leveraging the worldwide events. The next is 4, community engagement and civic identity, which would modernize the communications. We would eliminate the Historic Society and then the El Paseo Gateway enhancements. 5 is community resilience and climate strategy, addressing the extreme heat mitigation as well as the CVDPN support. And then last would be the clean, safe, and attractive city standards, addressing the light ordinance as well as the rapid response for blight issues. If council supports this organization, then you would just let us know, and then next steps will be staff will prepare a resolution as well as some kind of defining language regarding these goals. Staff also plans this year to develop a preliminary work plan on how we expect to address these and include that with the resolution. And because of that, we wouldn't expect to come to your next meeting, but the meeting right after that.
Any questions?
Well, comment.
Okay,
Just
go ahead.
I was going to say, like, for example, goal number 6, isn't some of this already in the works? Because we had a study session on lighting ordinance, and I think it was maybe 2 months ago. So is some of this already in the works? I guess this is to staff.
There are items that are new as well as already in the works. So highlighting them here allows that just to
Okay.
be affirmed. Or you can make alterations.
Yeah, I mean, I know for sure we have the mall redevelopment and the North Sphere. I think, more focused on number 6. Yeah.
So on 6, the lighting ordinance has been brought up, so work is being done. So that one's in progress. Zero blight is new, so that would require a study.
Okay.
And with regard to these goals, it also enhances the tracking and visibility to the city council when you include it in these goals, because you'll be receiving them in the semi-annual report as well as the annual report.
Very good.
Do you want to remove the regional indoor park? Or?
Yeah, I
would
think that's
suggest-
already been started, but I
I would
mean,
suggest you leave it in.
Okay.
That way we get
yeah, keep,
feedback, and I think it goes well with the entire, the university area development effort. I would suggest you leave it in. I think all of this goes well with the whole effort of developing the university development area. So my suggestion is leave that one in.
yeah, it's absolutely a goal, for sure.
They were coming back with studies anyway, so it fits in, and those will certainly influence how we go about doing this.
I agree, and I think as we also look at more of engaging through community events, and that'll help kind of gauge how much people support, how attitudes are changing along the way, and fold it in so we can see what the greatest interest would be and how we should set a strategy based on what we feel would be most exciting for our area from the people that know our area.
Go ahead.
Okay, well, are we focused on one right now? I don't want to,
Yeah, we can still
Okay,
talk about the North Sphere, or sorry, University.
whatever you
or
want to
North
call it.
Palm Desert area.
We could just strike North Sphere now in university area. The other thing, so I'll just go on that track. On the charter school, I think Councilwoman Harnick brings up a good point. We've put a lot of thought into the infrastructure in that area, and the facilities there we haven't, I don't think, kept that same intent on education there. I think that one thing I would suggest is before we jump into the charter school feasibility direct, do we have a 2x2 with Palm Springs Unified the way we do with Desert Sands?
We currently do not.
I would suggest that we start we change that goal to education facilities in the university area, K through 8, with the idea that it might be a charter school, but I think it's stronger if we start those conversations in a collaborative way with Palm Springs Unified and see what facilities they have in place. My concern is if we pick a spot and a type of school and they're not on board, they do have property in the area that eventually may become a school, and it's better if we work with them on that. So it might be a charter school. I just think that broadening the goal to be education facilities and starting those conversations with Palm Springs Unified would be the first step.
Could I comment on that, Councilmember Pradetto? I did have a 2x2 meeting about 2 years ago with Palm Springs Unified to discuss Desert Sands jurisdiction versus their jurisdiction north of Frank Sinatra, and it really wasn't received well at all.
And if I can go a little further, this is why I think if we can work together, we might have something. Palm Springs Unified is actually the CSU, that state land now, that is covered. If I'm wrong, please tell me, but I believe Palm Springs Unified holds that land where CSU is. So I think if we can get everyone working together, we might have potential, and it will become a model that perhaps others can learn from. And those schools that are near colleges, certainly the students excel, but to have a school where we're all working together, we could show people how it's done. And it's an opportunity.
I think, sorry, go ahead. I think that we are looking at biting off a whole lot more than we can chew and setting it as such a lofty goal. I think this may be our idea, but we are being prescriptive in what we're looking at, how we want a school district that has previously said thank you, but no thank you. We're going to hold on to that land. We don't want to build on it. We don't want to sell it. We don't want to do any transfer. We want to let it sit there as they choose. This has been a consistent conversation. This is a conversation I've had with their board members. And the idea that we are going to essentially usurp by putting it in the CSU campus, that then limits their ability for future programs that they may already have in mind. The idea that curriculum will be changed in order to accommodate this is also very difficult, because that would require state modification, state approval, and all of the bureaucracy that would require that to go through the CSU Chancellor's office would also make this a big challenge. The growth opportunities, the school districts aren't as much in favor of charter schools, because applying the individual allocation per student, ADA, average daily attendance, taking that from one of the existing schools and having that apply to a different charter school, whether it comes from a different school district, it denies and deprives that school that those families are zoned for of what they would be entitled to based on the population that's around. We have seen Desert Sands already close a middle school because of a lack of enrollment, because students were trying to go to charter schools out of area. Desert Sands also reduced the number of spaces for charter students at Palm Desert Charter recently, because there were so many people that wanted to come, leaving out space for those in that area. We're looking at 6,000 new residents. As they grow, yes, Palm Springs Unified will have to figure that out, improve their transit strategies. And I think if we want to support the students that will come there and attend Palm Springs Unified facilities, we would be better off in helping them figure out the transportation from our area to where they are zoned at the moment until they are able to create that school. So there's a lot of moving pieces where this, I think, is kind of idealistic, but the idea that we would say, hey, Cal State, we think this is a good idea, and we're going to take it over there, and we want you to do this because it sounds like it would be fun.
Okay, so if I may respond to that, it is a lot. I don't think it's more than I can chew a lot. And I work under I don't go to no, I go to yes if. And this says feasibility, and we're not usurping Palm Springs Unified. We're including Palm Springs Unified, and we're asking how we can help and work together. It says feasibility. It's an exploration. Let's see if it's feasible. If it is, it could be a win, it could be a model, it could make CSU excel, and it could really look good for Palm Desert, as well as if we could possibly have the Desert Sands and Palm Springs Unified working together. That would show something to people, and that certainly would come up with the best result.
And I just want to say, Councilmember Harnick, I'm supportive. It's been a few years, and I think it's worth giving you the opportunity to see what can happen.
It's a new concept. It's worth exploring.
And if I could, I just want a little bit of clarification to make sure. So is the entire North Palm Desert area, University Park area, North Sphere, served by Palm Springs Unified? I know Palm Springs Unified. So in other words, anybody who lives north of Frank Sinatra Drive has to go to a Palm Springs Unified School District school.
Unless they get a district transfer.
Gotcha. Okay. So that's why Desert Sands is not in the conversation at all for this goal yet. Okay. But otherwise, I very much like the charter school idea and what you're proposing. And to Councilmember Quintanilla's point about, too many kids leaving some of the schools in La Quinta, the middle schools, coming to Palm Desert Charter Middle School. To me, that's an argument for having more charter schools because they're successful. People want to go there, and it attracts more. So I'd rather have more charter schools with a little more autonomy in their academic programs and what they offer, a little more independence there. So I'm a fan for sure.
Sometimes the
Explore it.
attraction is not necessarily because of the type of student they're attracting for that. It's out of convenience, and that has been part of that. I live in La Quinta, but I work in Cathedral City, so I'm going to put in a transfer for my student to go to Cathedral City. I live in Palm Springs, I work in Indio, and that's why they're doing inter-district transfers. So that's out of parent choice because of convenience, not often anything that has to do with actual academic rigor. It really comes down to funding, and studies are showing that charter schools are taking money from the average school. Well, that then leads to declining student success at the schools that are not charter schools. So we have to look at, yes, this would be nice here, but what are the unintended consequences of the students that will be harmed by having less funding available in their schools? We already know every single school district is struggling. They are cutting millions across the board, and when you're cutting even nutrition programs and you're funding to feed students, we don't want to contribute to that by allowing some of that money to go elsewhere. I think that once the infrastructure is there, if the school wants to become a charter school or a magnet school, I think that's a conversation for much more in the future.
Might we just change that bullet to explore charter school feasibility at CSU Palm Desert?
I have absolutely no harm in exploring. Got enough direction there? Okay, very good.
When you guys come back with the budget, it'll have a line item for how much that feasibility study will cost?
Yes, that'll be a part of the work plan.
On to mall redevelopment.
Well, it's up to the city council, so if you want further discussion, or if the way these are proposed is acceptable, then we
Beg
can
your
move
pardon.
forward.
Mr. Mayor,
I hope we keep it on as a goal.
We definitely should be. I just want to make sure that we always have in there that we make sure that one of those lenses we're viewing this through is the revenue it produces. We can't lose sight of that. And for my shorthand version, it helps us with pavement, parks, and police. And we have to be able to pay for those things. So it's somewhere we don't say anything about that. Maybe it doesn't need to be added, maybe it does. But I want us to make sure we're always looking at that.
Okay. Any other comments, questions? Okay, very good.
All right, so staff will move forward with these goals with the exclusion of the Historic Society and bring this back for final approval.
Terrific. All right, thank you very much. So we are done with the study session, and looks like we have about a 10-minute break before we go into closed session, so see you in 10 minutes.
Thank you.